Hey, welcome back everybody. Low Life Plays coming at you with another Decktech here. This one's for dragons, with the Dragon Storm set that came out. I think it'd be really just appropriate to go over one of the lists for Miirym, one of the most OP commanders when it comes to doing dragon shenanigans. So let's just jump into it. So if you don't know and you haven't been blessed by Miirym at a table yet, Miirym is 3, a green, a blue, and a red for a 6/6 flying Ward 2 dragon spirit that reads, whenever another non-token dragon enters the battlefield under your control, create a copy a token, except the token isn't legendary if that dragon is legendary, so it just can abuse really kooky things. So let's just dive into this one. First, we're going to start with some low end, some ramp. We got Scaled Nurturer. It's just nice to have something because, you're trying to ramp really quickly into big dragons, but they cost a lot. And having just a body on the board to, block little things in the beginning really just, I thought was nice. And also a little life gain, when you cast a dragon spell, gives you green. I think it's good. Dragon Lord Servant, just thematic and fun. Also reduces dragon spells cost. Can come down a 1/3 body, seems nice. Dragon Speaker Shaman, just reduced by 2. Pretty insane cost reduction. Classic Soul Ring, Arcane Signet situation. And then we are running Cursed Mirror. This is for just, it's really nice to copy dragons, but also in a ton of different ways. This can go infinite with, one of our other dragons, so we'll talk about that when it comes up. But I just always also like Cursed Mirror, get another cool dragon, give it haste, it's fun. I'm running Shadow in the Warp. I like this for creature heavy decks that are really, expensive, like in Atali or, other things like that, where the first creature spell you cast each turn costs 2 less, and then it also has a little bit of a stacks effect whenever an opponent casts their first non-creature spell this turn, just deal them 2 damage. Then a lot of my land ramp is it's land ramp, right? Instead of like focusing on signets and things like that, I just went with just mana, so that way they can't blow that up, or Vandal Blast doesn't set me back, and all that good stuff. I really like land ramp, so Farseek, Nature's Lure are our 2 mana ones. We're running Kodama's Reach and Cultivate. I'm also going to run Sky Shroud Claim. And one of my favorite ramp spells, Open the Way. I love Open the Way. It just, 4 lands is just crazy stuff. It's so strong. We got to protect our board. We're going to commit. Not super heavy. Dragons are just so impactful when they cast that you don't need to have a huge wide board of them, but essentially Smuggler's Surprise, it's in here mainly for the +1 at the bottom, where creatures you control with power 4 or greater gain hexproof and indestructible until end of turn, but it also does have some extra synergy for Spree, where you can mill some cards, get creatures lands, you can put up to 2 creature cards from your hand into play, so it has a lot of flexibility for late game, so it's not just a Heroic Intervention type effect. But speaking of Heroic Intervention, we are going to run Heroic Intervention too, to just make sure we can protect our board. Roaming Throne, one of our best dragons, right? It has Ward 2, comes in, you pick dragon. The biggest thing with this is in here for is the triggered ability doubling. That's obvious, but one of the best things I love about it is since Miirym has Ward, you can just double trigger Ward and just protect Miirym because it is a removal magnet, because the value that it gives you is just so, so good. So having this as kind of another threat that has Ward that can double triggers, it's just so good. Well worth it. Next, when our dragons come in, we don't want to be slow. We want to just start swinging to the fences, right? So we got Dragon Tempest, gives our flying creatures haste. And then whenever a dragon enters the battlefield under your control, it deals X damage for X number of dragons. That's just icing on the cake. We would play it if it just had the first ability. It's just haste enabler and just punching faces. That's why Rising of the Day is here, because we don't have a ton of legendary dragons. We do have some, but it's in here mainly to give us haste. Rhythm of the Wild, everything we want. 3 mana, can't counter our big boys, give them haste, give them +1/+1 counters, whichever one you want, but it's really in here for the haste and making our spells uncounterable creatures. Creatures you control have haste, and then when you're casting a dragon, pretty much, you just draw cards. So creature with power 4 or greater enters, you draw a card, really, really strong. We got Up the Beanstalk, so these are some enchantments that help us draw cards, because we are going to be casting a lot of things with mana value 5 or greater, so we're going to draw, it replaces itself, this card's amazing. Elemental Bond, draw cards. Garruk's Uprising, draw cards, give any of the dragons who might not already have trample, get them trampled, so that's cool, but it's really in here to draw. Kindred Discovery, same thing, whenever our dragons ETB or attacks, you draw a card, doesn't have to deal damage, it's wild. I am running 2 just spell removal, because we do have dragons that deal damage, so creatures really aren't that big of an issue for us, because we're typically the big creature threat, but having removal is always really important. So we are running Beast Within and Chaos Warp. I was running a Reality Shift, but I swapped it out for Ovia, Automech Artisan. I wanted to try it. I know she's not a dragon, but it's just kind of like I didn't really want to play sneak attack anymore. I didn't, you know, the sacking, whatever, it's fine. You could easily replace it here. It's also really good, but I pulled this, wanted to try it out. Each creature that's attacking one of your opponents has trample, so it can give other things trample, which is nice. And then you pay a green, tap it, you can put a creature or vehicle from your hand into play. And then if you put an artifact onto the battlefield, it gets bigger. We are running Aggravated Assault. You know, we're not running some things, but we are running Aggravated Assault just to beat face with dragons and close out games with combat. That's what we're ideally trying to do, is just swing over everybody's heads and just attack, attack, attack. Last March of the Ents. We're already ramping so heavily that this card just can give us so much value, right? It can't be countered, which is awesome. You draw cards equal to the greatest toughness among creatures you control, and then you can just dump a bunch of creatures. So just tons of dragons come into play. We have so many haste enablers. Odds are that we have one of those, and then you just swing to the fence and just knock them out. So for protection, in lieu of counter magic, I'm running Displace and Ghostly Flicker. Just because I would rather, you know, like, we're going to keep dragons in our hand to cast later. We don't have to commit super heavy to the board because we're getting all these token copies. So we're never hugely committed. So Wraths are, you know, they're annoying, but I'd rather have these Ghostly Flicker type effects to protect things from spot removal and then take advantage of Miirym being an ETB trigger, right? So it just enters the battlefield. So you can make more tokens, so it doubles up instead of just being a counter in your hand that you might not use. Really good stuff. Now we get into the juice. We get into the juice of our dragons. So I'm super excited. They're so fun to play with. First, we're going to start off, we have Dragonborn Champion. So trample, 4 costs, 5/3, that whenever a source you control deals 5 or more damage to a player, draw a card. Really excellent draw engine. We're running Imarith, Desert Doom. This bad boy has flying, has Ward 4 as long as it's untapped. And then when it deals combat damage, you draw a card. Then if you have fewer than 3 cards in your hand, you draw cards equal to the difference. So just more card draw on a dragon. Really nice. This one's a pinger, so when you cast an adventure spell or dragon spell, it deals damage equal to the spell's mana value to any target that isn't a commander. So just so much extra burn, really good. Ganix Astral Hunter, when it or another dragon ETBs make treasures. So it's a cheaper dragon, it ramps us, really, really good on the low end. I am running Twin Flame Tyrant just because it's just a BA dragon. You know, it's so good. Super fun. If a source you control will deal damage, it deals double. So really love that. It's a dragon. It's only 5 mana. Super strong. Goldspan Dragon, we're ramping, baby. This guy ramps like crazy. He has flying, he has haste. When he attacks or becomes the target of a spell, make treasures. Your treasures are double. Just an all-star kind of creature here. Wrathful Red Dragon. This one's fun, and it can really just create really interesting board states for your opponent, because whenever a dragon you control is dealt damage, it deals that much damage to any target that isn't a dragon. So, you know, if they want to Blasphemous Act you, they can't. You can just kill everybody. It's really, really fun. Scourge of Valkus. Really strong. It's the second part of our haste enabler. You know, whenever it or another dragon ETBs, you deal X damage for X number of dragons you control. It also has fire breathing. You know, you pay a red, you get +1/+0 till end of turn. So that's not super useful for me, but it is a great, really powerful, effective card. We're running Bone Horde Dracusaur. So it's a flying first strike. At the beginning of your upkeep, you exile the top 2 cards of your library, and then you may play them this turn. And then if you exile a land, make a 3/1 dinosaur. If you exile a non-land, make a treasure. So it ramps us. It's a flying, first striking, crazy dragon dino. So super good. I'm running Furcrag because I like Goad. It can be a little hard to read here. So Furcrag, this bad boy, whenever 1 or more dragons you control attack an opponent, Goad target creature that player controls. So whenever a creature deals combat damage to one of your opponents, if that creature had to attack this combat, it gets bigger and you draw a card. So it's card draw. Heck yeah, we love some card draw. Then we've got Thrakus the Butcher. So Thrakus, pretty wild. Whenever Thrakus the Butcher attacks, you double the power of each dragon you control till end of turn. Love it. Then we got our big boy, Thundermaw Hellkite. Flying, it pings and taps all of your opponent's flying creatures, which it can really help you get through. And I've really had a great time with Thundermaw Hellkite. I was on the fence about him because there's just so many powerful dragons you can pick from, but this one just enables you to, if someone else is playing something that can get in your way, just tap them all down and get through. Terror of the Peaks. It's Terror of the Peaks, right? I mean, spells, it cost them 3 life to even target terror, and then it just deals damage equal to things' powers when they enter. It's just such a good card. Hellkite Charger. This guy, flying haste. When he attacks, you can pay 5 and 2 red. If you do, untap all attacking creatures. After this phase, there's an additional combat phase. So when you really need to start closing out the game, later on, you can just pay mana into this bad boy and just start beating face with Hellkite Charger. You love him. He's good. We also have Klauth, Unrivaled Ancient. His foil makes it pretty hard to read him because he's a little pringled here. I mean, look at that boy. Look at that guy. But either way, essentially, he's a flying hasting 4/4 for 7. Whenever he attacks, you add X mana in any combination of colors, where X the total power of attacking creatures. You can only spend this mana to cast spells. And then you don't lose mana as steps and phases end. So he can, he's a really good one to have out there just to generate a ton of mana if you want to drop some dragons on your second main or whatever, or anything like that. We are running Lathless, Dragon Queen. Whenever another non-token dragon ETBs, you make another 5/5 red dragon with flying, and it gives dragons you control +1/+0. So it's a board fire breathing, which is great. Steel Hellkite, he's removal of boy. That's what he's in here for. So, Steel Hellkite, if you can't read, Steel Hellkite, come on, focus. If you pay 2, Steel Hellkite gets +1/+0 until end of turn. Pay X, destroy each non-land permanent with converted mana cost X, whose controller was dealt damage by Steel Hellkite this turn. You can only activate it once each turn, but it's really, really good to, you can blow up a bunch of tokens, you can blow up a key permanent, and just hit anything else that shares a CMC with it. So just a really, really good one. Now some other huge bombs here. We got Ancient Copper Dragon. Ancient Copper Dragon is just so good, right? Whenever it deals combat damage to a player, you roll a d20, and then you create that number of treasure tokens equal to the result. It's disgusting, especially when you get 2 of it. It's so good. It's so good. And then we're going to run into our boy, Innet the Dreamer. So this one is a flex slot, I would say. But essentially, when Innet the Dreamer deals combat damage to a player, you can pay 2 and a blue. If you do, you can exile a top card of your library face down. You can look at it as long as it remains exiled. Then you can play it without paying its mana cost, as long as Innet remains on the battlefield. So it can be good to just get some free dragons. It does cost 6, so that's why it's kind of a flexible slot. If you want more of an impactful dragon right in the moment, I could totally get that. There's a lot of them. There's ones you can really pair with Hellkite Charger or things like that to just, go infinite with combats, or there's a bunch of really fun stuff you can do. But I'm running also Incinerator of the Guilty. This guy's just another Balefire dragon, right? Or Banefire. Whenever Incinerator of the Guilty deals combat damage, you may collect evidence X. When you do, Incinerator of the Guilty deals X damage to each creature and each planeswalker that player controls. So you can just board wipe people for collecting evidence, and it's not super hard to get a lot because our stuff is so expensive. So I mean, you kill 1 dragon, it's like 6 damage. It's pretty wild. Scourge of the Throne. This guy is wacky, man. He's got Dethrone, which is a fun mechanic. Whenever this creature attacks a player with the most life or tied for the most life, you put a +1/+1 counter on it. And then, whenever it attacks for the first time each turn, if it's attacking the player with the most life or tied for the most life, you untap all creatures. After this phase, there's an additional combat phase. So this guy can just give you so much additional combat that you just start beating people down. Really, really strong. Then we're going to run into our boy here, Atarka, World Render. Atarka World Render reads, if this camera can pick him up. So Atarka, our big boy, what he do? Atarka, whenever a dragon you control attacks, it gains double strike. So, also crazy. Another big baddie of the format here, we're going to run into Old Gnawbone. This guy is just so good in green, right? I mean, whenever a creature you control deals combat damage to a player, create that many treasures. So it's like our red boy dragon here, but we don't even got to roll a dice. We just got to deal a bunch of damage. Pretty easy for us to do. Speaking of damage, Dracuseth Maw of Flames. So whenever he attacks, it deals 4 damage to any target and then 3 damage to 2 more targets. So just spot removal like mad. And it can be people. It's so good. Dracuseth is wild. And then you can get 2 of it. Then we got our Balefire Dragon, just removal. Whenever it deals combat damage to a player, it deals that much damage to each creature that player controls. Just good. I mean, it's a flying 6/6 for 7. Just get in there, wipe their boards. Udvara Hellkite. I would like the other treatment of this, but I've had this one for a while, so we use this one. Whenever a dragon you control attacks, you make a 6/6 red dragon token with flying. So super strong, really, really good to get a copy of. And then our combo boy here is Astral Dragon, right? It has Project Image. So when Astral Dragon enters, create 2 tokens that are copies of target non-creature, except they're 3/3 dragons in addition to other types. So, and then they have flying. So essentially, you just want to have Cursed Mirror, and then you make copies of Cursed Mirror, and the Cursed Mirrors become copies of Astral Dragon, and then you repeat that process till you have a bunch of. You can make infinite 3/3s with flying, and then you just win the game. So that can be fun. We got Ancient Silver Dragon here. I just love the art on these Ancient Dragons. I think they're so sick. It's so good. Whenever our Ancient Silver Dragon deals combat damage, you roll a d20, draw cards equal to the result, and you have no max hand size for the rest of the game. So that's cool. If you hit with him one time, it's pretty good. Cavern Horde Dragon. Just a nice, cheaper dragon. I mean, he costs technically 9, but he costs X less to cast, where X is the greatest number of artifacts an opponent controls. Oftentimes, I've gotten this discounted to pretty low, especially with treasures and clues and all these things being so prevalent now. You can get him for 2 red, a 6/6. I mean, crazy. And then when he deals combat damage, you create a treasure token for each artifact they control. Wild. One of our big boys here, too. We got Dragon Broodmother. You know, at the beginning of each upkeep, you make a 1/1 red and green dragon creature token with flying and Devour 2. Just gives you so many more little dudes to block because, you know, you're going to be generating so much hate because you are just making so many dragons and you're being a problem. So I understand. I just don't enjoy it. Now let's get into our lands, right? So we're going to run Ketria Triome. We're going to run Exotic Orchard, Command Tower. We're also going to run Haven of the Spirit Dragon. So Haven of the Spirit Dragon, you can add 1 of any color to cast a dragon. It taps for colorless regardless. You can also pay 2 and sacrifice it to return target dragon creature card or Ugin Planeswalker from your graveyard to your hand. We're only focused on the dragon creature, but still good. Cavern of Souls, make our dragons uncounterable. Secluded Courtyard and Unclaimed Territory fit the same bill here, where they're just every color we need for dragons, and they also don't have to tap. They can come in untapped, and they tap for colorless, so that's pretty nice. Gives us a lot of flexibility, because we do run some non-dragons. I'm running Otawara, the Soaring City. You know, this one's just good for just bounce. You know, targeted bounce. You can just, if you really need to, just return artifact, creature, enchantment, or planeswalker to its owner's hand. So you can protect your own things, you can bounce the threat that's coming at you. Really, really good disruption. I'm running our Homeward Path because I like to run Homeward Path in decks that I'm running lots and lots of impactful large creatures like Eldrazi or dragons or dinosaurs are the biggest ones that I would run a Homeward Path in, because that's the ones where people are going to steal stuff from you. So they're going to theft it and then hit you with it, and it sucks. So just being able to have a colorless land, it doesn't, you know, comes in untapped, so it doesn't slow you down, and it's just a nice flex slot to have. And then you just, boom, gain control. Really, really good. So for our Izzet lands, we're running Frostboil Snarl, Sulphur Falls, Shivan Reef, Spire Bluff Canal, Training Center, Steam Vents, and we love the new Verges. So we're going to run that Verge. I'm going to run Yavimaya Coast, Willow Rush Verge, Vine Glimmer Snarl, Breeding Pool, and Botanical Sanctum for our other lands here. Then we're going to run Rootbound Crag, Aspire Garden, Stomping Ground, Carplusian Forest, and Thornspire Verge. And then we got our basics. I went with these basics. I don't know. I just had enough of them, and I like the arts, you know? They're kind of like big, monstery things coming down. I would love to obviously get the Dragon Eyes or even the Dragon Shadowlands that came out in Tarkir, but you know, we're gonna do what we can do. So we got 4 mountains, and then we get some forests here, and then we got 2 islands, because it's nice to have basics in your deck. We're leaning green. A lot of dragons have red. We're leaning green so we can ramp. You know, we always want to have access to green in the early game, and then it gets more focused on red as you tilt into the mid to late game. So that's why the mana base is split up that way, at least in my experience. So Miirym is a huge, huge threat to have on the board. So, you know, you'll draw a lot of aggro, but if you want to place, but I mean, I think any deck you play that's focused on dragons, people are going to try and hit you, just because dragons are scary for people. You know, they're known to be just big, expensive, crazy flying beaters that can really wreak a lot of havoc. And Miirym says, oh, 1 is bad, how about you get 2 for free? And if they're legendary, I don't care, you get another one. So really, really strong. I have a lot of fun playing Miirym. It's very aggressive. You just, you know, get tons of clones, give them haste, swing at people. Super fun. I just thought this would be a timely release for, you know, going into the Miirym deck with all the dragon stuff that's going on. I can't wait to look at kind of what singles could go into this after the set kind of calms down a little bit and see what we want to do here. But that closes it out for Miirym Sentinel Wyrm. I hope you enjoyed. I'll put a deck list in the description. And if you like what I'm talking about, you like these deck techs, do them weekly. I would love to, have some comments, likes, subscribe if you like me that much. But outside of that, I just love showing these decks, and just brewing is such a passion. So hopefully you guys enjoyed it, and I'll see you in the next one. Bye!